So we are going to have 3 stories for Mother's Day this week. And for the story that I'm going to read to you, it reminded me of my photo album from when I was a little girl. So when I was a baby, my mom made me this photo album, and you can tell the pictures are all black and white, and she wrote in it, and it really is quite beautiful. It's mostly black and white photos, but then there's a photo of when my little sister was born, and that's a color one. And then I always have one up that my mom gave me once as a card, and it shows me I'm a year old and I'm just learning how to walk. And I love thinking about what my mom was like when she was little, but also telling my own children about what I was like when I was little. So we have 2 books that I think some of you would have heard by Sara O'Leary. And this one says, when you were small, and the mom and dad tell the little boy Henry about what it was like when he was small. But I'm going to read this one to you. The mom's telling what it was like when she was small. The illustrations are very delicate. They're by Julie Morstad. Very lovely. And this little boy, Henry's in both stories. He's looking at a photo album and he's thinking, what was it like when my mom and dad were small? And his mother tells him the story. So here it is. When I was small, Sara O'Leary, illustrated by Julie Morstad. Henry wishes that he'd known his parents when they were small. And of course that's not possible at all. Tell me a story, he begs his mother. Tell me about when you were small too. And then his mom tells him a story. Well, when I was small, says his mother, my name was Dorothea. But because the name was too big for me, everyone called me Dot. And there she is when she's small, in among all her classmates. When I was small, says my mother, my doll and I wore the same size shoes. When I was small, says his mother, I went swimming in a bird bath. I love that idea, being small enough to swim in a bird bath. When I was small, says his mother, I played jump rope with a piece of yarn. When I was small, says his mother, I could feast on a single raspberry. And I like how the table is a spool of thread and a button and a little umbrella from a little drink. When I was small, says his mother, I slept in a mitten. And this reminds me of Jan Brett's story, The Mitten, sleeping inside the mitten. When I was small, said his mother, the cat mistook me for one of her kittens, which is exactly how a mother cat carries her little kitten around. When I was small, says his mother, I could wear a daisy for a sun hat. And here's a little sewing thimble that she used to make a sandcastle. That's how tiny she is. When I was small, says his mother, my best friend was a ladybug. When I was small, says his mother, my father built me a doll's house. And she's tiny enough to play in it, to live in it. One bed was too hard. One bed was too soft. And one bed was just right. And this bed is made out of clothes pegs. Pencil, clothes pegs, and 2 little tiny chairs. And of course, this is from the Cinderella story, a bed that was too hard. The Goldilocks story, a bed that's too hard, a bed that's too soft, and a bed that's just right. When I was small, Henry's mother says, I couldn't wait to grow up because I knew that one day I would have a small boy of my own. And you could tell him stories, says Henry. Yes, says his mother, and I would tell him stories, because in stories, we can be small together. The end. And maybe if you're listening to this story with your mom, she can tell you things, imaginative things about when she was small, and you can imagine things together. So that is the story When I Was Small.